Seriously, what is it about Weller Antique that is so good? What is up, my friends? It is your host, Nick Anderson, also known as Amongst the Whiskey, and today we are getting into all things Weller Antique 107. Haha! We have a new store pick on the scene. This one is from Wyman's Liquors in Leominster, Massachusetts. If you are in the New England area, I highly recommend coming and checking out this store. Did you see that fun little detail on this one? That right there, non-chill filtered. That is going to matter for when we taste this. So what do I mean by non-chill filtered? That NCF that you saw on the label there. Chill filtration in the whiskey making process is taking a whiskey down to a low temperature and passing it through a set of filters that strips out some of your fatty acids, your esters, your proteins, all in an effort to try to make the whiskey not turn cloudy or hazy when you get it at low temperatures in the bottle. But some would argue those proteins, those esters, those fatty acids, those are important to the final flavor and mouthfeel of a whiskey. So when it comes to Weller Antique store picks, when you're doing a single barrel selection on these, the non-chill filtered picks tend to be the most highly regarded. This one says it right on the label. You know it's true. I thought that was an interesting addition on the default sticker. I had never really seen it happen by default. I think some stores have requested to put a non-chill filtered label on it when they knew that it was going to be non-chill filtered. But it seems to have become a default on these, which is pretty interesting. Does this mean all Weller Antique store picks moving forward are going to be non-chill filtered? How does the team decide if it's going to be chill filtered or not? These are all key questions that I will be sure to answer for you, my dear viewer, as soon as I have the info. But for now, I am ready to crack this beautiful bottle of Weller Antique, once again selected by Adam over at Wyman's Liquors in Leominster, Massachusetts. Love how the foil peels on these. Super clean. Comes right off. And then it's just as simple as cracking that cork. Woo! I personally believe that Weller Antique is the best form of Weller. You can see I've got all the other colors. I've got the 12, the CYPB, the single barrel, even the special reserve, even a bougie foolproof in a bag. And I firmly believe that Weller Antique is the best expression of Weller that Buffalo Trace puts out. And I stand by that statement. All right, in the glass, let's see how this Weller Antique expression does. Wow, on the nose, just buttery for days. Think butterscotch, creme brulee, a little bit of flan maybe even in there. It is a molasses-y, but kind of toned down from being super dark, super potent, super bitter. It's a very creamy molasses. Yeah, nose feel is just bonkers on this thing. I wonder, is that a factor of non-chill filtration? A factor of just great distillate? A factor that Weller Antique is just consistently great? Beautiful little bit of funk on this. And it's funny that I keyed into that funk because I got to taste this expression at Cask Strength. Yes, the store that selected it, Wyman's, had the sample bottle available for tasting, and Buffalo Trace sent this at Cask Strength, this particular barrel that got selected. And so the team at Wyman's did a really good job tasting it proof down. Some of the team even added water at the time of tasting to make sure that when they got the final product at 107 proof, which is what all Weller Antique 107 is proof to, that the final product was going to be something that they could still stand by. And I know every bourbon connoisseur down in the comments section right now is saying, oh, you should bottle it at cask strength. It's always better at cask strength. Well, I hate to break it to you, but in this particular case, the opposite was true. While the cask strength version had a beautiful nose, very potent, very rich, it had a bit too much molasses, and it was a little sharp. The proof didn't quite land nicely in the nose. Yes, it had more volume, but more volume didn't mean a higher quality whiskey. On the palate, what happened is the creaminess improved as you got to 107 proof. I actually wasn't super crazy for the profile on the cask strength version. A little more of the fruit tones were more apparent, and maybe it's just because the sample bottle had had some airtime at this point. I got some raspberry, some nerds, some sweet tart tones. Overall, I could see why the store selected that sample. It was a delicious whiskey. But what happened once they added water and did not do a chill filtration process? The final product on this is pretty damn good. Yeah, nosing further, I get some nice linen tones. The fruit is subtle, but really nice backbone underneath this. It just smells like Christmas. It smells perfect for the winter months. Weller Antique is for the Burr Months, for sure. If you agree, drop me a comment down below. There's just something about Weller Antique in the wintertime. It just hits. It just hits. It hits perfect in the wintertime. All right, and on with the taste. I chewed on that one a long time, and wow! Bursting with fruit. You get the cherry cordial, raspberry tart. My goodness, it is all the fruitiness that you're hoping and demanding out of Buffalo Trace these days. This is a wonderful return to form. This is a complex, creamy, sweet, bodacious, beautiful whiskey right out of the glass. And this was a fresh crack here. And this is just with a little time after opening the bottle. I can only imagine that this is going to get better and better as I enjoy it in these cold winter months. Oh, post-sip nose is even better. Now it's got some Smarties characteristics going here. Ugh. If you can't tell by the smile that is just creeping across my face, this glass is just making me so happy. So happy. Oh, Weller Antique, you're my favorite. This was an interesting turn of events for this store. Typically, Wyman's has selected Weller Full Proof when they have gotten a single barrel selection in the past. But the choice to select it at 107 proof, I think is a good one here. While I will also usually advocate for bottling at cask strength and letting people proof to their preferred proof point, I also respect the distiller that knows when a certain barrel is going to taste better at a certain proof. That is a skill in and of itself. Yeah, if you're looking for something rare but delicious, something a little bit allocated, something that's a one of one, you can only get it one place, one single store, search out a Weller Antique single barrel. If you see the little medallion, that means it is a single barrel selected by whoever it says on the label. Wyman's will have these for $80. I think that's a steal for the quality of whiskey that I'm sipping on here. I have no qualms paying that price for whiskey this good. But budget is individual by default, so if this doesn't fit your budget, so be it. I think $80 is very fair. Every sip of this is just so delicious. You ain't gonna find a complaint out of me. But you might be wondering, Nick, how do you know it's so good? What are you comparing it against? What have you tasted before? Well, I'll have you know I've had plenty of Weller antique picks. Not everyone has been as tremendous as this one. But I just so happen to have another one right here. This one is a New Hampshire Liquor Outlet Select from, I think, a few years ago. Let me check the laser code here. Perusing my eyes for a laser code. Whoop. Where are you? Do you have... Oop, there's the laser code. Here we go. Detective work says... If I can read it. L20, so 2020 bottling. See if I can capture that. A 2020 store pick from the New Hampshire Liquor and Wine Outlet. So I guess this is going to be a opportunity to do a head-to-head. Has Buffalo Trace fallen off over the last 5 years? Were they better in 2020? Was this particular single barrel just better, worse? Is the New Hampshire Liquor Outlet better or worse at picking a single barrel than Wyman's? There's a lot of questions that could be answered through this tasting. This head-to-head tasting. So, let's pop it. Poured a little heavy there. All right, on with the nose. Interesting. Instantly is presenting just a little more muted. There's a little bit less on this New Hampshire Liquor Outlet. I'm not getting that just poof into the nose. I'm not getting the creaminess that I found on the other one. We'll do a little bit of glass rolling, making sure to coat all the surface of that glass. Help improve how much of that volume is going to come out of this glass. Here we go. Yeah, I'm definitely not getting as much, and I still have a dollop of the Wyman's pick. Come on. Come on. Wow. Monstrous. Monstrous whiskey in comparison to the New Hampshire Liquor Outlet. Very flat. Not much going on here. I am so surprised by this. Makes me wonder. I think the New Hampshire Liquor Outlet is probably not a non-chill filtered pick, where the Wyman's is a non-chill filtered pick. And I think that's very obvious, comparing the two noses. And so that lends credence to what I said earlier, where you should be hunting, if you're really serious about deep, rich, unctuous flavors, you should be hunting the non-chill filtered examples. If you don't know if your bottle is non-chill filtered or not, you can email the Buffalo Trace team with the laser code from your bottle, and they'll tell you if it's non-chill filtered or not. They'll tell you all the stats that they have on it, what warehouse it was stored in, what floor. It's really cool information. I feel like every barrel of single barrel Weller Antique or Weller Full Proof should just come with these details by default. I don't know why that's not the case. When they already have the information, just provide it. Be transparent. Is that too much to ask? I do think that Buffalo Trace is probably going to start putting it on their labels by default so that they don't have to man that email as much as they probably do today. Even with a little more time on the New Hampshire Liquor Outlet pick, I'm getting a little bit of like bar soap aroma, and that's not me. I didn't use a bar soap today. I actually used scent-free soap because I hunted today. Saw a beautiful doe at about 5 yards to my left. I don't have a doe tag, so that one got to walk. But this has kind of an Irish Spring soap scent to it, which I can't say is really a compliment. Yeah, it's kind of piney. Super weird nose. I'm just going to have to taste it because the nose is just doing nothing for me. They can't all be winners. It doesn't taste good. It's just like the nose lead. It's flat. And I've properly stored this for its entire life. I keep a good temperature, a good humidity in my whiskey study. Which, by the way, have you guys ever seen my whiskey study? It's right behind that door. You want to check it out? Maybe another day. If you do want to see my whiskey study, subscribe to my page, and I will definitely take you on a tour in my whiskey study. Sacred whiskey study. All right, seriously, New Hampshire Liquor Outlet, like, what are you doing with your barrel picks? Did you like this? You wanted to pick this to, like, sell to your customers? You dislike your customers this bad that you just are willing to sell them this? It's so boring. It's so flat. Ugh. Okay, yeah. Last sip, a little bit of like a ginger ale profile. Tiny bit of graham cracker. I'm really grasping at straws on the tasting notes here because there's just nothing to it. So, proof of a few things, perhaps. Non-chill filtering matters. Who picks your barrels? Matters. And just because something carries a particular label doesn't mean they're all going to be good. But I do know that this Wyman's pick is lovely. Absolutely lovely. I want another bottle. I want to go back and beg for a backup. I don't think that's going to be possible, but I could try. Nose is still so big, so creamy, such butterscotch, night out at the movies, sweet, delectable. It's just perfect. I'm going to be sad when I finish this glass, knowing that I have to wait, like, till tomorrow until I can sip it again. That hurts me a little bit, you know? But I do condone responsible drinking. You should be careful about how much you're sipping any given night. And if you do feel like you have a problem, feel free to reach out. I got good advice on how to use spittoons at tastings and how to get over silly stigma of a culture that doesn't value sobriety. But you've been with me this far. Let's finish this glass. Cheers. It just gets better with time. Wow, it is as thick as some of the Blantons straight from the barrels that I've had. It's as flavorful and rich as some William LaRue Wellers that I've tried. It definitely can rival some of the best Weller full proofs that I've drank. What's not to love here? I am certainly pleased with this one. If you can get your hands on any Weller Antique single barrels, you are in a good place. If you can get the Wyman's pick, you are in a much better place. Let me know down in the comments, are you able to hunt this one down? Are you still on the hunt to find this? Are you still on the hunt for some of the other Weller expressions? I may be able to help. But that is going to do it for me today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. And until next time, keep it amongst the whiskey.